I want to be clear that the intention of what I am doing here is to help people become self-empowered. To me, that's the only way we're going to really change the world, is to be self-empowered and to be self-loving. If we are loving ourselves, then we can love the rest of the world. If we're not loving ourselves, we're going to make a mess of things. So this is all about how do we become self-empowered, and that's it's a process that takes a lot of time. There's a lot of stuff involved.
Yeah, and when it comes to self, quite often people feel self-conscious that by being selfish, they are taking something away from other people or giving undue attention to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So you might want to describe a little bit the difference between self-intentionality even and being selfish. Does that make sense?
Well, it makes plenty of sense, but I want people to be selfish.
Okay, tell me more about that. Tell us more about that.
The notion that if somebody is selfish, that they are focusing on themselves and not on other people, is this idea that they're supposed to be focusing on somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest that the number one thing that we need to be doing is paying attention to how we are feeling, being mindful of our feelings, because when we are not feeling good, we have nothing to offer somebody else. So it is to become selfish in the sense of keeping ourselves at the highest possible vibration. A very selfish thing. But brushing your teeth is a selfish thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there are lots of things that we do that are very selfish. But if we pay attention to what makes us feel good, then things like being of service makes us feel really good. If we're being of service to others because that's our duty,
Mm-hmm.
that's a pretty low vibration, and it's not a very great gift that we're giving to people. We want to be in as high a vibration as we can and then give them love from that place.
Exactly.
And if there are times when we don't feel like giving anything to anybody else, that we need to be processing for ourselves, fine. Then we need to be doing that rather than trying to, hide that stuff that we're trying to feel. I like to use the analogy of the lobster. I used to live on the coast of Maine and got to know lobsters very well. And, when a lobster gets to a place after living for a while, it gets very uncomfortable and it needs to break out of its shell. So it has to go find a hiding place, because when they break out of the shell, the lobster is extremely vulnerable. So it's very important. I mean, a young lobster will do this as many as 7 times a year.
Yeah, lobsters are fascinating.
Yes. So they need to take their lobster time in hiding and very quietly, being selfish, because they...
Being a shellfish.
A selfish shellfish. That's getting almost too much. The process is to break out of their shell, and they can't walk after they break out of the shell.
Oh.
It takes them several days before they have enough of an outer shell that they can walk once again.
Okay.
So we all need to take time, I think, to grow and to be prepared to help others and help ourselves.
Yeah, as you say, if we're doing things for other people because we think we should, then that's where the martyrdom comes in. And as you say, it's not the greatest feeling.
It's not the greatest feeling, and it's not much of a gift to anybody else.
Do you think it's okay to just go for the feeling of feeling good? I think some people might think that that's not a high enough directive.
I'd like to know what a higher one is.
Well, I don't think there is one.
No, I mean, you think of all the great feelings in the world, all the greatest things in the world,
Yep.
of all kinds, peace, love, harmony, ecstasy, enlightenment. they're all feelings.
Well, what would happen if everyone went for the good feelings? I mean, would everybody just leave the jobs that they don't like? And how would how would those jobs get done if no one wanted to do them?
Well,
They were all off feeling good.
fine. At some point, some of those jobs people would do because it felt good, to have that stuff cleaned up.
Right. Yeah, they would feel like it was their choice rather
Right.
than feeling like they had to do it.
That's right. So when you need to do something or you have to do something, you become a slave
Or a prostitute.
or a prostitute. That's right. But when,
Well, not to put that down, but just to give it a bit of extreme definition.
right, you're doing
Yeah.
something that you don't want to do for money. Whereas a slave is doing something they don't want to do because that's all they're allowed to do. So either one is no good. So I would suggest that if everybody was operating on the basis of doing what feels good, then they are paying attention to lots more of what's going on inside them, including inspiration and suggestions from who knows where. But it is this place of recognizing the connection. We're here in Hawaii, and that connection is called aloha.